Hi everyone, this is Dale Ann, and I thought I would show you, since the last video I did for my 60 in 60 was this art page. I'll flip it so that you can see it from there. I got to this point and I thought it was time to put one of my trees in. And then continuing on the black, once I was done that page, it inspired me to do one of those scratch pages. So I colored underneath, then I scratched out the rows using this tiny little screwdriver to scrape off the paint. And I like it. I drew the rows with black marker onto an old pen pal letter and then colored it and then glued it onto this page. Some mornings I only have like a few minutes before I have to do something else, so this was all that I did that day. And I used up some of these. This was on a collage sheet that I had gotten years ago from in Iraq, and so I cut them apart and glued them on to there. Every once in a while I like to do, I don't even know what this process would be called, but I just do doodle lines onto paper. So in this case I did it on a vintage book text, and once I finished doodling the lines I saw these three people here, and then I added kind of like the wings. This was here, but then I added like a wing on there, and then I had an old rub-on and I put love on there. And I drew a tree onto an old pen pal letter. I tried to explain why trees mean so much to me, living on the prairies where there is hardly any trees. When I see a tree and it's one of those old gnarly old ones, that makes my heart sing. To me, they show strength. They show resilience in the wind, the weather, being out by themselves, you know, kind of thing. So that's what I get out of them. This page was already marked by this stencil part, and I just colored it and used sequin waste and then drew the flower on here. Used one of the rub-ons and then put in the rest. Life is precious, so enjoy every second. Then this was inspired by an embroidery page that I had seen in an old magazine, and the background for this was also marked from the same stencil here. And so I just started, I drew the flowers, then I filled in with the leaves, and I have no idea what type of flower it would be, or if the leaves go with the flower. This was another one of those mornings where I needed a quick page. I just glued in a napkin, found a quote about gratitude by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and sometimes it has to be a 2-minute art page. On Instagram, I am friends with a guy in Regina that takes awesome photos from his Nokia phone. And This page was inspired by one that he posted. My husband is even impressed with his photos. Had to say, you know, like, this is why I love the prairies. This was a fast mandala done on a vintage book page, and it was colored in after, and it's just a reminder sometimes when you go about your days or weeks and everything is rushed, it's nice to take 5 minutes and just sit and do deep breaths in and deep breaths out. I find it clears the brain, and it also puts you back into the present. And that's just a message for myself. The birds are back singing loud and proud. And especially lately, it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I just did I started with some doodle lines, almost like this one over here, except they were just straight. And then this bird came out of it. And so I just went with it, listened to the bird singing. And there was a boo-boo over here from the next page. So I covered it with these felt flowers. This was a day that I took time and needed to just doodle. And so I drew all the flowers and the leaves, colored them, and then I wanted to, inspired by Alyssa Burke, she shows her sketchbook every so often, and it's flowers, and she fills in every space around, and that just inspired me to try different little doodles in between. So it's very colorful. And this one was just another one that I drew a line and then just did freeform flowers and the leaves. Used gel pens to color them. This was sponged on here. I have a square sequin waist, and I hadn't been using it for a while, so I used it there. And this is a scrap of paper towel that had been dyed. This is a cutout butterfly. I had this little envelope made, and I made a tag to put in there, and so there's special journaling on the back of that. Just drew a scene. This one, I don't really like it, but I went with it. I had painted the page yellow, and it was too bright, and then I tried to tone it down with a green, and it was the wrong green. This one I like, even though the background, I had drew these with a gel pen, a black gel pen. And when I went to do the wash on the back, the gel pen bled, which really surprised me. But it's kind of a, you know, a shadowed background. And then I had this quote about friendship. It's a definition, actually, of friendship. And I had it sitting in my little quote book for a while. Decided to put it in. I was going to do something with trees and book text, and I didn't like how it was turning out, so I just drew the forest. And and wrote a quote on a piece of tissue paper and glued that down. I just felt like drawing a heart that morning and doing different edge turning, and I could have went on, and I didn't have any more time, and I just stopped where it was. This morning that I did this, I was inspired to trace around my left hand. The day before, I was reaching out to somebody that I hadn't talked to in a long time, and the morning that I did this, I was reminded to look in my quote book, because I had a quote about taking someone's hand. On YouTube, I follow, her name is Linda, I forget what her last name is, and she is doing Rolodex cards every day, and she was inspired by somebody she had seen on YouTube about circles and how they're connected. So this one is not done yet. Every once in a while I'll go in, and because I want them all to be connected. And the quote that's going to go on here is about the whole world is connected, and how no matter what color we are, you know, we can all get along on the same page, so the same earth. Felt like making a rainbow. Said, you know, we can color our own rainbow anytime, and it can be any color that we want. This one is the one from this morning, the 30th day, and the dandelions are starting to be out. So I was inspired to draw a dandelion onto the next 30 days. Thanks for watching. Bye now.